Well, hello again. It's been great to be back in the auditorium here at Antioch again and seeing faces that we hadn't seen for quite some time. For some, it's been 2 months or over, and just getting to greet folks and to kind of catch up on how things have been for them. It's been a great couple of weeks here at Antioch. Looking forward to the future and seeing what God has in store for us. This morning, I want to share with you about something that I'd read. Happened out in Colorado some years ago, and seems that there was a fellow that just lived up in the mountains of Colorado, and he died. He had no wife, no children, but the extended family came in to take care of details, and also they went out to the place where he lived. It was just an old shack. He even had an outhouse, no indoor plumbing or anything like that. When they got inside his house, it was, there was a rock fireplace. There's a cooking pot on there, and the old chair was all battered and beaten. It had 3 good legs, and the kerosene lamp on the table. That was about all. Just his bedding wear was it was just in shambles. It was just worn to a frazzle, and but they picked up a few things of his and started to leave. An old friend of his had shown him where his place was, and he asked them as they were leaving if he could have anything else that was left there, and they said, "Well, sure." He asked politely, "Do you mind if I do that?" And they just told him, "Well, yeah, go ahead." They didn't think there was anything of importance there, of any real value to them. And so they started on their way. So as they were pulling away, he went back in the old house, or the cabin, really. He went back into the cabin, and he went over to where the table was, got down on his knees, and took a board out of the floor there. And in that empty space there, he began pulling out gold. All the gold that this man had mined over several years living up there in the mountains of Colorado. Wow. He made a comment about that when he was talking to someone else. Hey, this was his only true friend. And he said they should have known him better. You know what? That was true. They should have known him better since he was a relative of theirs. The one thing that comes to mind as I think about this in relation to the Lord is what Paul said when he wrote to the church in Philippi. And he had this to say about Jesus. He says, "I want to know Christ and the power of his resurrection, and the fellowship of his sufferings, becoming like him in his death." Paul is saying there, I want to get to know the real Jesus. The facts about him, okay, that's fine, I'm sure. Those weren't a problem, but he wanted to know Jesus' heartbeat. And so how do we today, how do we get to know Jesus' heartbeat? How do we get to know him better? Well, we have to spend some time with him. Obviously, that means maybe some more time in prayer. But we need to read about him and discover how he reacted to certain situations, to people, what he did for them, how he talked to them. You notice that when people are evil, he deals rather firmly with them. And when people are mixed up, he straightens them out. He gives them great advice. He gives them help. And when people are his people, notice that he speaks well to them as well. Getting to know him, that ought to be our heart's cry, that we come to know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering, being made conformable unto his death. I hope that you and I as well will come to know Jesus and to come to know him even better, because there's tremendous riches in knowing Jesus. I want you to have a great day, a great week, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday here at Antioch, and maybe even next week on Wednesday. Have a great week.